you asked, hey, can I run this by you? And then what happened?
What happened? Well, let's just say that I told you not to be nice.
Yeah.
I was like, be honest, which you definitely were.
Welcome to the Marketing Team of One podcast, where we have conversations about the issues one-person marketing teams face when trying to meet their goals with limited time and budgets. Now here's your hosts, Eric and Mike.
So today, got a fun change of pace here. Got Ashley, our awesome producer, is getting in front of the cameras here.
Yeah.
I think she has a really good, I don't want to say cautionary tale, but it's been a fun thing you've been going through over the last 2 years.
Learning experience.
It is in 2 years. It's been weeks, not years.
Feels like 2 years.
I'd love to, I guess to set it up a little bit, is you help us here at Page Design with so many different things. You've got a really good idea of all the different things that we're doing on the marketing side of things, websites, marketing tasks and everything, right?
Yeah.
And so armed with that knowledge,
mm-hmm.
and knowing that what's possible or what people talk about with AI, you thought you could put that to action, right? I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about that and tell everybody.
For sure. So to preface too, I've kind of always been in random marketing roles, regardless of positions I've held over the years.
Yeah.
So I've had these glimpses into websites or marketing campaigns, or not so much logo and design until I started working here, of course. But that's always been something that I've never really fully immersed myself in, but I've always seen a lot of. So yeah, what do they say? Master of, or I don't remember the term, but
Jack
anyway,
of all trades.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none, though.
Yeah.
So yes, I have seen a lot here at Page, and I have a friend who I was doing some side administrative work for recently. Noticed that his website seemed to be out of date a little bit, and I decided that I'd ask if he wanted some help to update it, make it look better. And he seemed very interested in it. And so I was like, you know what? I saw Claude and Claude Design and all these, AI tools have been talking about you can build a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the knowledge that I have working here, I was like, I bet I could help him. I'm going to go ahead and try.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my initial thought is, let me see if I can get Claude to put together a mock-up. Mind you, I have creative freedom
mm-hmm.
with this because he doesn't know really what he wants. He just knows he wants it to look better. I know that what I've seen, I know what I could consider better based on the work that we've done.
Yeah.
So with that information, I kind of put in a prompt saying to Claude, like, hey, I want to build a website. I want it to look sleek. I want it to look professional. It's supposed to be around health and fitness. It has, this person works with these types of people, and it spit out something really what I would consider fresh and polished looking,
mm-hmm.
that I was impressed with.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I was surprised because I didn't really know what I was going to get.
Yeah. It is kind of a black box, right? You're going to throw some stuff in here. You don't know, especially on those first ones, you don't know what you're going to get back.
Especially too with limited information that was provided, because I just kind of gave it these buzzwords, if you will, like sleek, cool, fitness. And it populated something that I thought, I forgot to mention, I did provide it to look at his website,
mm-hmm.
to kind of dissect what was going on with it currently. And this is something that I've now learned with using tools like this, is like, you have to feed it lots of different information to help it understand what you want to get out of it, right?
Yep.
So anyways, it populates this really nice looking page, and I'm like, oh, this is great. So I ended up sending that to my friend Spencer, and he's elated. Yes, let's do it. This is great. Awesome. Now I'm like, he agreed.
Actually, I mean, before we move forward, I was just curious, like, what did you see in the existing website that made you think, it needed an update? Like, what stood out to you? What did he mention things that he didn't like too? Like what kind of got that genesis point of we need to do something new?
He did not mention anything.
Okay.
I went on the webpage and it was really hard to read. It communicates the point across what he does. Like he works with fitness individuals. Now he's kind of like changed his positioning, but the website had a lot of bulkiness to it. His picture was fixated on the back.
Mm-hmm.
So the text, when you would scroll over, but the photo would remain. So at certain points, it was really hard to read.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of call to action.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't any links really. I think there's one link to book a call with him,
Mm-hmm.
but then that takes you to a form. So I just felt that there could be a more successful way of getting clients to him. And this goes back to us all working together and me seeing, okay, we've done this work for people where there's more interaction involved. There's
Mm-hmm.
more exploration involved on a page. And I felt that his page was limited in offering that to people.
Mm-hmm.
I did like his testimonial page, but then some of the testimonials maybe were just a photo with no actual testimonial connected.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of pieces that were not fully completed.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest reason why I offered to help, because I'm like, oh, well, I know that if he just has copy for this person, I can add it.
Yep.
If he doesn't have his marketing, like check this box to receive marketing emails, like let's get that going so that he can take the emails he's collected and actually use them for something.
Yeah.
That's something I've learned way before I worked here, is like, you got to have permission.
Yeah.
If you want to be legit.
Yep. So you kind of floated this idea, showed him what it was like, and he bought in. He's like,
yeah.
And then so you're like, all right, I'm here. I'm armed with my knowledge. I've got AI tools at my ready. I can totally do this, right? Like that was,
yeah.
And then were you a little scared, or you're like excited about the idea of moving it forward?
Yeah, I wasn't scared of the task. I was intimidated by. Now, mind you, with this episode, I think we're trying to convey more so like what a marketing team of one might do. In this instance, I'm charging for this service. So one, I was a little intimidated about what do I charge for my time, because I'm not a professional and I knew that. And that was very clearly communicated. So I wanted to be reasonable. And then more so, I was intimidated by the estimation of time it's going to take.
Yeah.
So
I mean, AI, it's going to take you like 10 minutes, right?
Right? You
just create a website and you're done, right?
Yeah, you would think for sure. But I knew from us all working together and working with clients that it takes time to get information, because it's not a one-way street. You have to collect information as much as you have to create a product, right?
Yep.
So I knew that I was going to have to talk to him I knew I was going to have to interview him to get a basic like understanding of things. I knew that we were going to have to write copy. I knew that the design choices would take time. I also knew that Claude, because I was using Wix specifically, and I didn't want to mess with any kind of coding, that it couldn't go in there and do it for me, but it straight up said, like, I can tell you step by step how to make these changes to make it look like what I gave you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I knew that was going to take time. The whole project, I said maybe like 20 hours ish is what I was feeling. And we agreed that I would do the homepage first. And that was a good testing point to say, hey, do you like this? Do you not like this? And then we agreed on hours. I was like, if I feel like I'm going over, I'll let you know beforehand. And then I got to work, and it started to feel good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this looks just like the thing. Like, okay, great. Claude knows exactly what I need to search for, and I'm able to find it. Awesome. So I just start plugging in, doing the things and the stuff. Part of this too was that I hadn't interviewed Spencer yet. So with this beautiful page that it just made up text for me and whatever, I had to go back in and re-Claude and re-evaluate based on I used his Instagram page
Mm-hmm.
to pull information from. So I was just reaching out for every bit and piece of knowledge I could find on Spencer to pull to create
everything that's arm's length that you can easily get in. And
yeah. And I mean, mind you, that's not necessarily the most professional way, but I can imagine that again, like if your CEO or somebody, your leadership is like, just update our website, and maybe you don't have pages or whatever, and nobody has time to talk to you about what they want to say, you're going to have to figure it out, you know, documents, any kind of video, anything that has relevance to Spencer's what I used. And so I think the same would be for like a company, any relevant messaging, whatever. And then I believe I spent about 6 or 7 hours on that first run through.
Yeah.
And then that's when I came to you, Mike.
And just like most things, you bring it to me and I'm going to overthink it and everything like that. So you told me this was going on and you're like, hey, I want to try this. And I was like, yeah, no, I think this would be a really good test of things. And you asked, hey, can I run this by you? And then what happened?
What happened? Well, let's just say that I told you not to be nice.
Yeah.
I was like, be honest, which you definitely were. What ended up happening is first I was asking you about design feedback, and we ended up not really talking about any of that.
It was very minimal, right?
We ended up talking a lot about what is he trying to say? What is the point of this site? And you opened up a new realm of thinking for me with that conversation that we had. It was a lot of, okay, so what does he do then? And is that conveyed in the moment that you land on this page?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And so that was the very first thing that we talked about. Then we continued to talk about this journey of sorts of how does a person land on a page? How do you instantly convince this person they need to be here? And then how do you take them through explaining the intricacies of their problem and solving their problem and proving that the problem can be solved and all of this stuff. And this is giving me that template.
Yeah.
So we really dove into rethinking copy and what the copy can do, because what I learned is that copy is design. Yeah. So the copy is just as powerful and honestly kind of the leading force of the website, I would say, to the point where you made me realize like, what I had on there, I didn't really even want to read. Like if I'm looking at it from a user perspective, because there's too much, it wasn't organized. So that got tore down. I think I wrote about 2 notes of pages.
You were scribbling furiously. Yep.
Yeah. And then towards the end of that conversation, you gave me a small bit of insight about the design, which was that you said it looked a little beige.
Yeah. I think I used the term beige moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like it was very, there's a certain aesthetic, like especially we talked about it earlier. It's the Mormon Wives show. There's no color. There's a lot of, it looks classy. For where this guy was going, it just didn't seem like a match. It seemed like, yes, it was elegant. It was sleek. It was all the words that you put into Claude. Yes, it was that, but that's where all the trends are going too. So I think that's where a lot of that kind of crept in. So it was like, there's no question that it looked good. Like they were all tasteful decisions, but they weren't necessarily the right aesthetic for the service being offered.
Correct. And the point that you made across was, to me, one, I will say that I did ask Claude to give me 2 different fonts for the copy and for the headings, right? So it chose specific fonts based on the word prompts that I gave it. Yeah. But what I was enlightened by your critique is that it didn't have a personality. Yeah. And that personality is really important, especially since this website represents an individual. And so I had to do some searching, which, oh my God, that's a whole nother, that's a whole sea of chaos of searching for a couple of fonts to like go together.
Gosh. There's so many. If you're just presented with that menu, I don't know. If you've looked in Canva and tried to go, there is no bottom to the fonts list in Canva.
There's no bottom.
You can keep going. You could spend hours.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I thought, like, again, back to the fact that I work here, I recognize that the fonts need to work together. They need to be legible. They need to convey kind of like a personality. I found something. Oh, another tip you gave me that I really liked was duplicate the pages. Present one with the safe text and one with the more interesting.
Yeah.
I tried to do that. But also in this whole process, Wix decided to corrupt all the work that I had done on one page.
Sheesh.
So everything got spread fully across the entire screen. Luckily, I duplicated it because you told me to.
Yep.
So that was another thing is in that moment, I was like, oh God, what do I do? You know, like I put 6-7 hours of work and now another 3 or 4 hours and oh crap. So I was lucky that I had the fail safe. But had I, it could be a waste of time. Like if you do all this work and you don't know how to fix it, then you might have to start over. Because I did try to ask AI for that, but how to fix, right? But I wasn't able to get quite the answer that exactly what I needed because it didn't understand the tool exactly. It can't hold your hand like no. through it all. You have to have some kind of like intelligence to problem solve.
I think I had the benefit of not really asking you too many questions about this client you had ahead of time. So I could come into looking at the website as if I was a person who landed there for whatever reason, right? And I remember reading the copy and thinking, I'm not exactly sure what does he help me with? Like, I get the idea that it's somewhat fitness related, but I wasn't exactly sure. And then the other thing was, it seemed like I couldn't tell if this was more of a personality driven brand or if it was like, no, I'm providing a helpful service for, there's a difference there. And I think it was straddling a line that I wasn't quite sure. And so I remember one of the first things one of the first things I told you is right up front, we want to know who he is, not so much who he is, but what he does and how he can help.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing that I thought, even after we went through the whole page, I was a little unclear. I think I asked you a bunch of questions about, well, what does he actually do? Like, what's the actual service? What is he helping people get through? And I think that really helped sharpen things for the next round of things too.
Yeah. Once we did that initial run through and I was able to go through the copy with those thoughts put into place, that it clicked a lot more for me for sure.
So we have our little session and you've got pages of notes to go through and everything. You try and get into Wix and Wix blows up your page. I mean, where do you go from there?
I got the feedback from you for the copy. It helped me tremendously. And then I remember coming back to you the next day like, hey, I made the updates based on what you told me. And what do you think? And so you're reading through, you're like, okay, hold on. I have something for you. And I remember you go in the office and you hand me this notebook that is the StoryBrand workbook, I think.
Yeah.
Or something.
StoryBrand. I mean, we've gone through the StoryBrand training and we had a workbook that I got 6-7 years ago now. And yeah, I was like, this here will help. I think it had a lot of it was structure for the page, right? Like how you should go about tying together and kind of telling the story on this homepage.
It helped me figure out, because I remember telling you something doesn't feel right. Like, now I understand a person needs to use this page in a certain way. It needs to convey these certain things. These are the topics I need to cover, but something feels out of place or in the wrong order. I think I was trying to figure out which section needed to go where. Yeah. And that was kind of the inspiration for you handing me this guide, right? It makes me realize that every single thing I did, I hated. Everything I did, I was like, this sucks. I don't even like this section.
Like unrecoverable?
I deleted 3 sections that I had spent hours on because I'm like, this doesn't make sense anymore. So that was kind of like a punch in the face a little bit. So my next step was, okay, I have these sections in this book that can apply to pretty much any single person that has a website.
Yep.
Let me interview Spencer. Let me use this as the guidelines to ask him questions, to interview him, record this interview, and then use that transcript to input into Claude again to give me the points that I need to make for the sections. Now my website page sections are clearly defined. So I'm not like, where do I put this picture? Where does this text go? Like, why does this offer feel weird? It didn't feel weird when I interviewed him, right?
Yep.
And then I was able to create from the interview the master document of copy, which I did not have until that point.
Yep.
Which I'll learn now, like, please do that because it saves your butt every time.
Yeah.
And then that was when I came back to you again. And I think you were like, okay, yeah, this makes more sense.
It was much better.
Yeah. Things were more concise. Then you gave me a few more pointers on like laying out the copy in a more clear way. How can I utilize the information? Like now it just came down to creative uses of sections and design.
That's when it got a little bit more design critiquey than it was probably what you expected the first time we met, right?
Yes. I expected to be told, hey, add a picture here. Maybe make this line bigger. You know, I was expecting visual candy. Like how can I put lipstick on the pig?
Totally. Yeah.
But what I learned is like, okay, there's a lot more you need to think about. I've learned a lot from this single experience, but then it just opens more doors for more things to do. Like we're not done. I know that once, because we're pretty near completion for this page. I'm working after work, on my spare time. He's checking when he has spare time. So it's a matter of our ability to like push forward together.
Totally.
But yeah, it's a lot of work.
A lot of it's kind of like just typical, like the way people scan a page, right? They're going to do kind of like an F or a Z shaped pattern at your header, right? They're going to go across and then they're going to start going down and then they'll start scrolling and you want to, the imagery can help enhance and support the message, but you don't want it to get in the way either. So there's a lot of kind of learned tricks that you get over time and stuff. And so, you were taking a lot of that. But even, I think we were also like, there's something really, I know there's one section where you're trying to do like this, like in StoryBrand terms, they call it the plan, but almost every website has it. It's that how it works section, right? And they try and get it down to like 3 or 4 steps to really make it seem as easy as possible for the person who's browsing that site to envision what it'll work, what the process is and how they can, succeed with this program, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you had good copy there, but I think we probably spent a little time like, well, no, here, what we should do is use this as a headline, keep it really short, make that bold, then put text underneath there instead of just running and saying, we're going to do this thing for you. And so like, we didn't really touch like specific fonts or anything like that, but there's like a hierarchy to it, making it kind of flow. So even those little micro details were design things that we got into. Yeah.
And also like a side point to that is that from learning more about ADA regulations, why headers are so important, why text is so important, why all of these things need to be laid out a certain way, because that's another thing that the initial design I got did create the vision, but it didn't necessarily say like you need a header box here and text box here. And so again, learning through us that these are considerations that need to be thought about when you're making a website too, because especially with how things are going. I mean, mind you, he's not collecting data or doing anything, but ultimately this is knowledge that I didn't even really have until more recently. And that's just only going to get more important as websites continue to exist, I think. So I know that at least when the time comes, that my initial layout is going to help somebody succeed versus having to blow it up and start over again, right?
Yeah.
That's a terrible thought.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. After all that work, yeah.
Oh my
for
gosh.
Sure.
So anyways, yes, we looked at all this design stuff. You helped me bring it to a place where Spencer is very happy now. We have a little bit of, we have a few more things to work through as far as making sure he's happy with everything. This is a lot to do with his bandwidth and availability.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of time to meet. That man is busy from the moment he wakes up until 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So we have to schedule as things allow. And that's another thing is like, there is a lot of checkbacks and check-ins when you don't have all the information you need out the gate. I did not, and I continue to not have information that is even little details like, hey, what's your TikTok account? Because I need to add that link to the email and to the webpage.
Yeah. It's all a work in progress at this point, right? You've got through some significant milestones already. But like reflecting back, like what have you learned? What do you think you've learned so far? And I mean, would you do this again?
I have learned so many things, Mike.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I think I would do it again. I actually discovered the one big thing I learned is that I really like the adventure of building up somebody's site. I enjoyed the creative parts of, now mind you, again, creative freedom makes a lot more fun
Big time.
because there weren't any rules.
Yep.
I enjoyed taking a vision that I had for someone and turning it into a page that really communicated what this person did.
Yep.
And that person seeing it and feeling very excited about what they saw and knowing that it's going to be a huge benefit and opportunity for them to get more of what they're looking for, more clientele, to communicate what they do better.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing, is that it felt like aha moments when we have the perfect 2 short sentences that literally explain it all, right?
Yeah.
But that took hours of thinking about. I learned that I started backwards. I started at really what should probably be the end.
Okay.
The design and the pretty bells and whistles don't need to come in the beginning. I learned that I need to figure out what is the layout going to look like, and what copy is going to go in there, and what information do I need to fully convey this message? What is the message? Your guys' favorite term, who's your audience? You know, that, and it's something that is worth communicating repeatedly, because the other thing that you had said in that initial run through was, is this website about him, or is it about what he solves? Yeah. And if that's the case, then we want to speak to the problem, not to convey who this person is. Yeah. So that helped me figure out like what it feels like to be in the seat of the viewer. Yeah. I learned that there's a lot to do with websites. AI, Claude specifically, because that's all I used, was helpful in as much information that I could provide it. Yeah. But I didn't know all the things that I needed to provide it. So it could only do what it could do. And
it kind of fills in the gaps where it doesn't, where you didn't provide information.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this, that sure, you could understand that information and go seek out things to help it do a better job of building, but you still have to learn about it. You still have to take the time. So I think about like, sure, AI could be a great assistant, but if you don't have a guide to help you understand really what needs to be thought of first, second, third, fourth, and follow that guide, that you could be lost in a loophole forever. Yeah. And if you also don't know how to solve your problems on your own, like AI can only help you so much. Yeah. Sure, it could put out like a nice finished product, but do you know how to fix that finished product if you have to change it? Yeah. Because you talk about websites are always evolving. It's never done.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you feel like you kind of addressed it backwards. Like, and so if I was going to simplify, I'm greatly simplifying the process, but really it was like, hey, Claude, I want to design an awesome website. Oh, now I want to tweak the design of this thing. Oh, now actually I need to change the copy. Oh, now I got to interview them. Like now, like if you were going to do this again from like knowing what you know now, what kind of basic steps, what order would you follow doing it again?
I know for sure that I would need to understand the audience and the message.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big picture. Then I need to talk to this person and collect all the materials about them and who they are and what they do, their pictures, their documents, all their usernames, everything about them, their whole personality or their business or whatever it is, right? Then I need to structurally plan the pages based on the way that I want to communicate that information.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would spend all of the time fine-tuning the copy, making sure the copy makes sense, because the copy is kind of like code. It's laid out in a way that you just plug and play into the website pages. And then after all that's good and done, you can play with the fun stuff. And add the pictures and the little details and the fun little thing that shakes, when you put your mouse over it or whatever. I think that is, from a non-web person's perspective, that would be the better way to go about it, because then I would not have to call Spencer every 3 days. So
much of our job is actually just organization. A lot of it is like organizing the thoughts of the person you're working with.
Yeah.
Like they're probably pretty clear. They think they're pretty clear in their mind about what they do and what they need out of a website and everything. But like gathering and then organizing and boom, 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 boom. Yeah. It's so important on the front end of things.
Yeah.
And I think you could use AI at every one of those checkpoints to get you to a point. So you're not doing all of this. We're not saying get rid of AI to this stuff. AI is a good asset, but following some logical steps to get it done, instead of saying, hey, I want to build a new website.
Mm-hmm.
I do this. I mean, we had a recent episode where we talked about all the different things you have to consider in a website, right? And so just in your journey and everything, you've touched on a lot of them, but not all of them. And you know that a homepage is not everything that needs to be done. There's a big whole journey. As we talked through this, and one big reason I thought it was a great idea that we get on the couch and talk this out is to give just more of a reality check that yes, you hear so much about AI and all the things it can provide. But that doesn't mean, to Eric's dream of being on a beach somewhere and, smoking his candy cigar, it's not realistic. The reality check is that there's to do things and do things well, do things right. AI can help a ton, but it's only going to give you what you feed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at every step of the way, gathering the right information and giving the right instructions is really what's going to make sure that down the road that all these different things you talked about, like, because you didn't even get into maintainability or like performance or any of these other things that go into a website. Or really, the website is just one piece. There's all the other things that drive traffic to the website, or the functionality or operational functionality that can help, like collecting payments, scheduling meetings, like all those things. So I think this is just a really good reality check on, like, yes, the promise of AI, and it can do a lot of great things, but it's not going to just easy button your way to a website.
Yeah, I will say I'm very critical of AI. A lot of people are going to be presented with no option. They're going to be encouraged strongly to use AI. And I think that it is smart to be practical about how you use it, so that you're not getting stuck in like AI psychosis of doing a bunch of things over and over again with no real result. You have to be thoughtful about your discernment of what you're prompting. You have to be knowledgeable about what it is that your goal is. And so for my experience with all of this, I feel like I I feel like I learned a lot about that too. Of okay, yes, this can help, but yeah, like you said, there's so many things to think about, and realistically, a web developer, a web designer, they know more and they can do it a lot quicker. And I knew that going into this. So I think that it also gave me a lot more respect for people that do this every day, because I see us as a page design pump out things in a month, in a week, and like doing stuff so quickly that you have the system down. And that's amazing, because you know how to work with the human part of it to pull the information that you need to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think AI can do that. And I don't really know how it could do that, because there's always going to need to be that touch of communication between individuals wanting the work and creating the work.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
for sure. It's been a journey, Mike, for sure.
Well, Ashley, thanks for coming on. I can't wait to see where this project goes and as it develops, and hopefully you can come back and share with everybody.
Yeah. Well, I work here, so I'm here every day.
Awesome. Perfect. We'll just don't even need to book it. Just
nope.
Fire up the cameras. Let's go. Awesome.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Ash. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information and other episodes, subscribe to the Marketing Team of One podcast on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcast networks. You can also chat with us on the r/Marketing Team of One subreddit, or visit marketingteamofone.com to learn more.